Hey everyone. Actually, I gotta unplug this water thing, so hold on. Okay, back. Hey everyone. Excited to be here. Excited to share some thoughts and give you guys some answers to what's going on. And I don't know. I just felt that it was time to kind of check in and see what everyone was doing and how everyone's feeling. It's been an interesting year, to say the least, and just wanted to kind of check in with you guys and just be honest with what's been going on, and just had to step away for a little while just to kind of recharge and get my energy back. A lot of the live streams I was doing, people were saying that I was looking tired, and I was mentally exhausted, but at the same time, I was excited to do them because they did help me reconnect with my uncle and also share some exciting and fun stories as well. But I guess just hearing all the lies and stuff like that really is exhausting, and reading about them, and you try not to read the negative ones, but they pop up every once in a while, and then it's kind of like you wonder, should you um, talk about those or should you tweet those? And then it's like, oh, don't give those any interest or any views, and then it's hard because then you're biting your tongue, and it's like, how long can you bite your tongue for before you say something? And I did want to say something about the BAFTA awards, but I didn't want to give it any more attention than it deserved, and it was super hard not to tweet anything in those when Leaving Neverland was announced that it had won for factual series, which was ridiculous. We all know it's ridiculous. I mean, there's not one fact in there besides the fact that Wade and James knew Michael and their families knew Michael. That's the only fact in there. And especially when a lot of had been debunked already and proven lies, and they still gave it the award, which shows me that it was kind of a setup from the beginning, because I don't know how you could look at that series and know everything behind it and go, okay, we're going to give the factual series to this one. And so it's kind of like it was rigged. I mean, we know that. And so it doesn't really surprise me, but it doesn't surprise me the makeup of who BAFTA is as well. And they've come under attack in terms of representation anyway. So none of this really surprises me. I think it would have surprised me if they lost, because then I would have been surprised that it wasn't, I don't know, rigged. But we know the truth in that. And so I just wanted to come here and just talk to you guys, answer some questions. It's been too long, as I said before. I might ramble a little, but that's just how I am. It's been exhausting, and to say that it hasn't is a lie. But I wanted to tell you guys that because I'm sure you guys are feeling the same thing, and I'm sure defending Michael and honoring Michael it's because of what's going on in the world, which is also so draining. It's doubly draining. And if you're someone that is sensitive or has empathic qualities, it's even worse because you're feeling all this negativity. And I think that's the hardest thing, but we can't lose faith. We can't lose hope. We're in it together. And one of the things that has helped me a lot is been reading the positive Square One comments and what Square One has managed to do without really any publicity, or I should say any help from the media in that way. And it's just been word of mouth. And if you guys, I know most of you guys have, but if you take the time to actually read people that have gone in thinking one way and then seeing Square One and then completely changing their opinion, it's like their eyes are wide open now. And once your eyes are wide open, it's hard for them to get shut again. And that's what we have to remember. we're, as my uncle said, lies run sprints, truth runs marathons. We're in a race where we have to think of it as a marathon. We have to think in a marathon, there's times when you're tired. There's times when you get a second win. There's times when, you go fast. There's times when you just keep pace. So we have to think of it that way, not think of it, this is a sprint at all. It's not a sprint. And it's never been a sprint to me. That's why I've always thought of it as the long haul. Like, what will this do to Michael Jackson's legacy? And when I say legacy, I'm repeating myself, but this is not about his music only. This is about his humanitarianism, his charity work, who he was as a human, who he was as an uncle and a brother, a father, a son. That's what I think in the long run people need to see and hear. But saying that, because I've been also, people worry when I say that. They're like, oh, well, you're not going to go over this, and this. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that both of those are equally important. Both of those have to be said, because if you're not rooting for someone, and if you're not invested in someone's life, then you don't care what happens to them. You don't care about their story. And I think because my uncle was so mysterious, which back then, that's kind of what the whole thing was, the more mysterious and the more people didn't know about you, the more they were intrigued about you. But because of that, we live in the complete opposite world now, where everyone knows everything about everyone. And so it's just a different mindset. But we have to reteach people who Michael Jackson was. Sorry, I'm going to start just looking at comments as I'm talking, just because I don't want to. What age did I start to sing? I started to sing probably age 5. I probably started way earlier than that, but that's when I can remember. Yeah, it is disgusting. It should have never won. But it just, honestly, that just shows me that, sorry if I'm bouncing, that's me hitting the computer, but that just shows me on it, it's what my uncle had to go through when it came to music awards and stuff like that. I hate to use the word circle jerk, but they're a circle jerk. They're something that basically makes them feel good about themselves. But in the long run, I don't think, besides the marketing, which they probably will use as, oh, it's an Emmy winning, BAFTA winning, documentary. At the end of the day, it's been debunked. And I think with this, the more we unravel, and obviously with Square One and then my project as well, and other projects coming down the pipeline, it'll get debunked even more. But also people will realize who Michael Jackson is. And once you realize Michael Jackson's humanitarianism and who he truly is, you can see right through these lies. You can see right through Wade and James's lies and them as opportunists. It's yeah, we'll talk about it. It's very similar to me, and I've said this on Twitter, to the Johnny Depp scenario in terms of that. I've tweeted that Amber Heard to me is Wade 2.0 basically, and just watching their fandom and be considered stans and Twitter mobs and all that stuff. And these fans are the same one, remind me so much of us, where they have the facts, they have the truth behind them, and the media will not pick it up. The media is just on one narrative, and it's very, very frustrating. And then there's people that are, both of them are guilty then, because, they just can't make the distinction that, that one side has facts, one side doesn't. So which one are you supposed to believe? One side has tangible evidence, one side doesn't. Which one are you supposed to believe? And I think that's the thing. But Amber Heard is, she's an ambassador for certain things, and she's a media darling, and they will protect her, just like Wade and James. They will protect as of now, and they'll get caught in lies, and they'll protect them. Let's see, but that's Hollywood for you, and that's something, as I've said before, I've burned a lot of bridges in Hollywood. As the years gone by, people have started to see what Hollywood truly is, and Hollywood skeletons and all their skeletons. And it's no wonder my uncle wasn't invited to their club or part of their club because their club is disgusting. And I'm not saying all of Hollywood. I'm just saying there's a known section of Hollywood that is like that. And once they realized my uncle wasn't like that, I think they ostracized him. And that's why he could never get movies, and that's why he could never get parts to playing and stuff like that. He wasn't part of their club. How's the documentary going? It's going. I mean, the hardest thing is that with this coronavirus, you can't do interviews. You can't do in-person stuff that you normally can do, but I'm doing everything that I can, solo in terms of that, or talking to people that I can talk to and kind of pre-prep them, in terms of just talking to them and kind of getting their story of what Michael was to them and stuff like that. But that's a kind of a catch-22 too, because you want to save all that for filming as well. You want it to be authentic. So it's sorry, yes, I did. Did hear what happened to Lisa Marie's son. And it's tragic, and my heart goes out to her and the whole family. Actually, I lost my train of thought. Oh crap. But I wanted to come on here and basically answer your questions, because you guys have a lot of questions. You guys deserve answers to these questions, in terms of what I just wanted to clear a lot of things up, because everyone, the documentary, the project is happening. It's always been happening. I'd be the first one to tell you when it's not happening, and that's not in my vocabulary. This is extremely important to me. My uncle's vindication, I would say. And when I say vindication, I don't mean he's already been vindicated, but I want him vindicated to the world in that way. Square One is awesome, yes. And you guys, I just want to thank you guys, because you guys have been so supportive. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about to my uncle. He's no longer here, but this is what he dreamed of. This is what he hoped. He hoped that he'd have fighters, that he'd have people that supported him, that defended him. And it really, there's a pride that I have because of that, because of his fans. And you're not getting paid to do this. You're just doing it out of the love of your heart. And that's something that I don't think any other fandom has in that way. And I'm not trying to pit fandom versus fandom. I'm just saying, there's, I guess, when someone's been wrongly accused of something, that, that I do, I really do appreciate the Johnny Depp fandom, because they're coming with facts. They're coming with evidence. It's almost like deja vu. They're super frustrated by the way the media is spinning stuff and not telling the side of the story of what the trial really is, which we went through in 2005, where the media just spanned the stories they wanted to tell, or the sound bites they wanted to tell. So I sympathize with them in that way. Yes, someone said it's an award. I'm going to start clicking on them, because otherwise you guys don't know I'm really. Yes, the BAFTA award is an award. It's not a conviction, and it's an award that basically, you can give to someone, and it doesn't validate anything. It really doesn't. I know some people think it does, because some people hold awards more than other things, but I can tell you, it really doesn't. At the end of the day, it really doesn't validate anything, because 20 years from now, no one's really going to remember that it won an award, because it's going to be so debunked, and it's not even going to be relevant. And I understand there's certain people that, I don't want to say not panic, just really concerned about the climate and whatever. But I do want you to go on Twitter, go on Instagram, go on YouTube, and read the comments. Seriously, read the comments of things about Michael and stuff like that. I can tell you that from what it was a year from ago to what it is now is night and day. In that way, more people are waking up. More people are, whether it's Square One or Liza Leaving Neverland, or Razor Fist stuff, or there's so many stuff that people have watched and learned in that way. Okay, let's see where I'm at. I'd love to see you do a live stream with Prince, Paris, and I don't think that would happen. One of them would flake, or one of them would, that won't happen. I can tell you that. Can we get a more petty Taj? It's weird because it's like if I showed you all my drafts of the Twitter stuff I've wanted to say to people, you know, it would be different. It would be, and I've bit my lip, at certain times, you know, um, yeah, BG is okay. I saw him maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and I was super happy to see him because I hadn't seen him in a while, and we talked movies, obviously, and he's watching. Well, there's not a secret or anything, but he's watching Twilight Zone, the whole series. So I'm excited about that because I know that was one of his dad's favorite, was watching Twilight Zones and stuff like that. So, and I didn't tell him to watch it at all. So he's on a path that's just really cool. Um, and he's watching them in order, which I've never done. Um, Film family. That's a good question. I think part of the thing with Film family was that it was fun going to the theaters and then experiencing that movie together, mostly, and then commenting on it because it was that experience of the audience as well. And so now that there's no more movie theaters right now in terms of showing movies for audiences, it's a little different in that way. So we'll see. But we're still committed. We love Film family. So is it true that Michael wanted to do a movie about the great black empires, and got rejected by Hollywood? I don't know if he got rejected by Hollywood or not. I know that he was working on a movie called King Tut, which he wanted to star in as well and direct, and it would have been amazing. I saw everything that he had planned for it. I saw he had um, cutouts, he had pictures and everything like that. It was going to be amazing, and honestly, I think it could have won an Academy Award because this is something that not only had he studied, but he knew everything about in that way. And I think it would have taken the world by surprise. Reed is making a second film with the Liars. What's your thoughts? Those kind of people, they're like the Diane Diamonds and Nancy Graces and the Maureen Orths or whatever her name is. Their whole life is Michael Jackson. Their whole profit life, I'm saying, in terms of that. And Dylan Howard's another one. It's like that's all they have, and in a way, they're leeches would be a good word, because there's someone that needs something else to survive in that way. Ticks, roaches, because right when you think you've gotten rid of them, they come back. But yeah, I don't, it's hard because I think the world is more critical now of Dan Reed, and the climate's changed. It was toxic to question Me Too and the movement and the accusers. That's been changed now. Certain other people have been accused, and people have learned that they've lied in that way. So I think it's a different environment. Not everyone's so quick to rush and believe everything. And so that's a very important point. And so I think the one thing Leaving Neverland had going for it was that. So I'm reading and talking, and I don't even know where to still look. But one of the things Leaving Neverland had going for it was that you couldn't question it. Like if you publicly questioned it, people attacked you. And so a lot of people that wanted to defend Michael Jackson in public couldn't, or at least felt like that they had a target on their back. And so there's that. And then your eyes, I think you look at things differently through different lenses at different times in life or in society. And I think now people look at it with a more skeptical eye. Yeah, the watch-alongs. I am gonna bring those back, yeah, as well. As I said before, I had to kind of take a break because a lot of this was weighing on me, and I'm not talking about the Michael stuff only. I'm just talking about the pandemic and everything like that. It really got to me, and I'm a people person, but I don't like going out anyway, so it wasn't like being confined at home at all. It was just a matter of just feeling the weight of everything and feeling, you know, is this going to get better or not? And I think what really kind of did me in at that point was that when we were under lockdown for so long, and then the numbers didn't go down. They went down for a second, but then they went back up, and that was very discouraging, because I had hoped that I would get to go and interview and start filming again. And I was like, okay, once the numbers start going down, hopefully people will see it, and then they'll cooperate, and then I could get back to interviewing and filming. But now it's been a little more discouraging because people can't um, follow directions. Did Michael know the fact he had on women? Um, he was he it didn't get to his head, but he knew what he knew. He knew, but it was not like it. He knew that. I mean, you cannot know when people are screaming or people are staring at you, and I mean, there was literally people when I would go and just be around him. There's people that were like undressing him with their eyes, like women that were grown women that were just undressing him with their eyes, and I was like, wow, no. Um, I'm just reading these comments. Okay, where are we at? But I'm doing a lot better now, so thank you. When am I going to have my discussion with Geeks and Gamers? That's coming up, I think, next week. Geeks and Gamers is a platform that friend Jeremy is part of, and I'm doing an interview with them next week, which should be very interesting. Probably talk more about Hollywood and their agendas. Let's see. When's the last time I seen Moonwalker? And this is it. This is it. I only saw in the theater, and that was enough for me to see. I've seen clips here and there from other people on YouTube and stuff like that. It's hard to see for me. It really is. It's like I it was at the time it was good for me to see because I felt like the world got to see Michael one last time. But me personally, I don't know if I want to see it again. Um, Moonwalkers is a different story because it's part of my childhood and happy thought. I have to revisit it. I've seen the Smooth Criminal video probably thousands of times, but you know, um, everything else about it I need to see. I want to see it again as a whole. How do I plan on proceeding with the interviews? I'm hoping still to do them in person. I don't want to do Zoom calls and all that stuff because at the end of the day, 10, 15 years from now, that's going to not look as professional. It just isn't. And I don't really want to do that. I was planning with this documentary to travel to the places, whether it was Australia, whether it was Ireland, whether it was Hawaii, whether it was Germany, whether it was Arizona, where some people, depending on where it is, I was planning on going there and one-on-one interviewing these people because I think their stories are so important, and also it's a person to person conversation as well in that way. And I don't know, Zoom and these other is less personal to me in that way, and I think the audience kind of picks up on that as well. Do you have a 3T song that you are most proud of, and or is it? I'm most proud of the song Anything just because it was the first one. Um, it was the first one, and the record company or Sony, we originally we wanted "Why" to be our first single, and Sony wanted "Tease Me," and we hadn't written anything yet, the song anything, and we were at the stalemate because we were like, we got to start with our strongest, and for reasons they didn't want Michael as the first start, and so we were at a stalemate for a period of time, and while we were in that stalemate, we wrote the song Anything, and it was kind of like a happy compromise with both parties, and then that's how that happened. But really, why I'm most proud of it is just because it was a song written and produced by us solely. It is it was a song written at Havenhurst, because of the earthquake that had happened. We moved to Havenhurst, and so that song was written at the same place that Billie Jean and Beat It and all those places were written. So it has a magical aspect in that way to it. And the choreography, majority of the choreography was choreographed by my uncle, with in that way, him helping us, and those things are the magical aspects of it. I like other songs as well, but and my mom never got to hear the song Anything, which is kind of sad, but that's what I would say, is that Anything is the one I'm kind of mostly attached to. It's the first one. It's like your, I shouldn't say like your first baby, because I haven't had another baby, but there's something, I guess you're not supposed to pick your favorite baby. And since I don't have another baby, I can say, that right now. There's interviews on YouTube of people with a lot of some you can't reach out to because they're seized, but maybe you could put some of these interviews. Yeah, if I can't reach out to them because they've passed away, obviously I'll use their clips. Frank DeLeo's one, get David Guest is another that I would have to use clips of what they've said in the past. Elizabeth Taylor, but yeah, if anyone's alive at this point, in terms of, I plan on interviewing them in person. I'm sorry. Where is your documentary? The project, if it's only going to be on one small platform, it's not worth it for me to do. This has to be everywhere. This has to be, double the places that Leaving Neverland was at in order for it to be effective, in my opinion. It has to have the same kick, if not stronger, because it has longevity to it. But I want it everywhere. And ideally, what I would want is, I mean, you it's like our music, and I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'll say it anyway. Our music is to the point where, honestly, if people pirated it, they're still getting our music, and they're still learning about our songs and stuff like that. And you're not supposed to say that because there's record companies and stuff like that, and they need money to survive, and so does the artist. But if you're looking at it in terms of how many people you want to hear your songs, sometimes a free song or pirated song can be more effective in that way, because more people hear it, or more people see it in that way. So that the most eyeballs I could get it on would be the best platform. Okay. Do you know what was the theme of Dangerous short film that was? No, I don't. It's a good question. I don't know that. So it's some of the things he would show us. He would show us like what he's working on. Like I knew that he was working on a new thriller. Um, I knew that the Cirque du Soleil thing, like I knew about already, um, or at least that he was planning on. You know, there's certain things I already knew, and there's certain things that he surprised us completely about. And so it really just depend if we were there or not, or if we were around that area at the time and we're nosy enough to ask him what that was. When people hear the name, he often becomes character. Yeah. Can you describe the humanness of your uncle and family that some people just don't seem to? I think, and this is one of the things that will be addressed in the project, like one of the things that's super important. But because he was so larger than life, people don't even realize that this man was, you know, cried. This man was human. This man, bled. This man, um, loved. This man sacrificed. And I think that when you only show certain aspects in a certain way, that's all people see. And so I think little stories sometimes are more effective than the big, big stories that everyone knows. It's just the little human touches and the human stories. The one that I told about the earthquake, the 94 earthquake, about my uncle climbing the tree at our house, because he thought it was going to be the most stable place to be. That's a story that I always cherish and I always love, like, because you would never picture that of, you know, Michael Jackson climbing a tree, at a panicking about, an aftershock of an earthquake. But that happened, but that also is what would have happened for a lot of people. And so it's just, it's the moments that you smile and the moments that remind you that, no, this guy, not only did he live, but he gave so much. Did Michael ever talk to you about? Did Michael ever talk to me about women? Oh, yeah. Which is one of the things. I think he talked to a lot of people about women, which is funny because where is that question? It's starting to get out now how much he did talk to people about women. He thought he was being sly, but he did. It's just like any other guy would. If he thought someone was attractive or someone was nice or whatever, he would comment on it. It's not it's not 99% of his friends can attest to that. So it's not something new. It's not something I'm, hiding or anything. Do I think the Grammy Awards were racist? Well, I think a lot of, and I'm being careful, but I think a lot of these awards, um, I don't even know if they're doing it. It's just the people that are voting, the block that they're voting on, the makeup of the nationalities and the races of these people. You should look into that because that determines the votes. And so I think that had a lot to do with it. But Michael had a history of people not giving him the proper credit. And until he would shatter records and people wouldn't give him the credit. I mean, look at Thriller now. They're trying to claim that Thriller isn't the biggest selling album in America, which we know it is. And they're trying to give it to another group and trying to, they found all these, they don't even have the receipts for them, but they say they sold X amount of copies, which we know Thriller has sold way more than that in the same time period span. But they're always trying to discredit Michael in that way. So I wouldn't be surprised, with what they're trying to do in the Grammys. And it's almost like the bigger and the more prestigious the award is, the more there is an underlining racist, whether they know it or not, whether they acknowledge it or not, whether it's already embedded in them. But look at the Academy Awards, it's the same thing. They have to constantly be reminded, or held in check, and because you naturally gravitate what's familiar to you in a way, and that's the thing. And so if you're a screenwriter, you're going to write about, if you're a white screenwriter, you're going to write about a white protagonist, 99% of the time. Or if you're a female, you're going to write about a female journey in that way. So you write about what you know. And so it starts with that. I don't know if that answered the question. I think it did. Who in your family reminds you most of in terms of look and personality? Looks? I don't know. I think we all have our uncle in us, and Michael in us in some way. It's just his energy and personality. I think we all same thing. You know, um, I don't think there's someone that acts more like Michael in certain ways. I think we all, if we were sorry, my phone just went off. If we were all influenced by him and all grew up, with him, then yeah. Am I going to land my documentary until 2020? I hope not. I mean, I'm still trying, but the thing is that if coronavirus, right now they're saying with even concerts and movies that they might not be till 2021. So, if I can't go out physically to film people, then I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me. Do you think that you'd want to have a Zoom documentary? I I wouldn't, but that's me. I would rather, because I'm looking at it as I have to do this for, as I said, 10, 15, 20 years from now, 25 years from now. And I'm looking at it as like, so when the people that knew Michael were long gone, as I said, I mean, there's some that have already passed, but the ones that their words and their images have been captured and their statements have been captured. And that's been the hardest thing. And I mean, thank you guys for saying it. That's been the hardest thing because I've been making promises. Oh yeah, 2020 and the end of 2020 and stuff like that. And trust me, I'm looking at my watch and I'm like going, okay, but then I'm also looking at, what's going on with the virus in general. And it's not even me. Like, not that I would risk it, but I'm only one person. I probably could do some interviews and stuff like that. But then it's like I don't trust. I shouldn't trust the places that I'm going to, tremendously too, because I've been extremely careful. If I go into someone's house, do I trust them in that way? I shouldn't say that, but I'm a germaphobe, so yeah. The thing is I want to make this right. In that way, and let everyone that's joking, oh, like he's never going to come out and all that stuff. I see the haters comments and stuff like that, and whatever. But they said the same thing about my uncle's albums, and look what they did. They were done right. They weren't always on time, but they were done right, and they stand the test of time. And that's ideally what not only I'm going for, that's what it has to be. Did Michael ever watch Mr. Bean? I think I saw him watch it, but I can't confirm that. I really can't. Um, it would be up his alley though. He liked that kind of stuff, that silliness and stuff like that. Yeah, we are all germaphobes right now. That's true. But yeah, and which kind of like I've been a germaphobe my whole life, so I feel like this is not really this is practice. I talk to Brett Barnes about MJ of all the time. He's amazing. He's someone that I'm not going to talk too much because I don't like talking about someone, when they're not there or whatever. But he's been amazing. He's super, as you guys can see. I'm not going to say anything that you can't see on Twitter, but he's super upset at Wade, in general, and James. He's feels that that's the ultimate betrayal, and kind of what I feel in that way, and he knows that Michael was an amazing person that gave certain people, you know, what's the word? A chance to really know him. And they took that chance and they twisted it for monetary reasons and for, I shouldn't say monetary. Yeah. I'm just being careful because I know there's people watching this that basically um listening to my every word and probably transcribing every word I say to try and trip me up. So that's why I kind of pause, and which I hate talking in that way because it's not free and it's not as authentic. Ooh, I would love to interview Brittany. You know, huge. People don't know that. I've always liked Britney anyway, in general, beforehand, before the whole weight scenario and this and that. Um, I will reach out to her 100%. I know I'm very cautious of her scenario right now, but when the time is right, I will reach out to her and because I know that she did know Michael. Just one of the things I don't want to do, and she also knew Wade, obviously. But one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to reach out to celebrities that just listen to his music. Like it has to be people that knew him and knew his life and got to know him and got to spend time with him. I've already reached out to Howard and talked to him. So yes, that's and that was way back in. So some of these people I did way early, and I have to go back, circle back around. But yes, one of my producer partners uh, had that great find with Howard way, and so I'm thankful for her for doing that. Chris Tucker, yes, Jason. I don't even know where he's at and what his vibe is in that way. And um, why has he said something positive about my uncle, or is he still, trying to get money? Because there's a big difference to me. Yeah, it is. It is sad that Bill Bray's no longer with us. He would be an amazing person. I love Bill. I know my uncle did as well. Um, so many, so many people in my uncle's life, I have high regards for. So they're saying someone's saying that James that he's a witness for. I hope he is a witness for their lawsuit, and I hope the estate destroys him. Because these kind of people, they're frauds, and I hope that they get found out. They can't even keep their stories straight. That's the saddest thing about it. What? What is this? Where's the documentary on TV1's Unsung Story? I don't understand that. I'm sorry. Type it again, or type what you meant by that. You get mad at you. No, no. I don't. What's not to love? To be honest, amazing human being. His soul. He genuinely cared about not only the world but people in general. Had a heart of gold. Extremely talented, extremely funny, and he had an energy about him that you always wanted to be around. So it's like I don't understand why you wouldn't want um why you wouldn't love him. Yes, I hope so. I've talked to them, and they're one of the people that if I go to Germany, which is what I plan to do, that they would be one of the ones that I would love to talk to in general. I really appreciated that they did that interview, and I think that was amazing. Um, so yeah, that would be great in that way. I've been in contact with Bill as well. Yes. Um, you guys give me great suggestions too, so I write them down, and I try. And then there's certain people that I haven't contacted yet because they're a certain round that I'm going to contact, in the future, and especially with I can't film them right now anyway. So it's like a lot of these people that you've said I contacted them pre the pandemic basically. So the ones that you've told me to contact, I've written them down, and I just don't want to contact them and then like when I don't know when I'm going to be able to interview them. I reach out to Emmanuel for the project. I would love to. Emmanuel's incredible. Emmanuel's one of those people that a lot of my memories with my uncle, Emmanuel was there in general, and I have a natural love for Emmanuel Lewis because of that. And he did a live thing on Instagram, and he played Y, and I commented on it, and he commented back, and so there's we're the original Rubberhead Club in that way, and so it's like I smile because it's great. So yes, I would hope so. I haven't officially asked him, but he's been so supportive of Michael in the past in everything, and he's made comments, and I think it's just with everything, it's how it's approached in that way. But I plan on him being in it. In general, his life, whether he knows it or not, gave so much joy to my uncle that I would definitely want him to be part of it because he has so many stories to share that a lot of people don't know in terms of just who Michael was in general. And I think he goes a long way in terms of humanizing that. And they played a lot of pranks. He's one of those that played a lot of pranks with, which is what we did as well in terms of, so those kind of stories are fun. It is a sense. I know that's an. Are you? I was planning on asking Lisa and her kids. It's a sensitive subject now, so I'm still planning on it. It's definitely on hold for now because she's grieving, and I don't want to be insensitive at all. And I understand why she's grieving, and she's allowed to grieve as long as she needs to in that way. But I hope that she's part of it because she is also someone that fills in a lot of blanks for who my uncle truly was and it was really like to live with Michael Jackson. Did Michael have a favorite Prince song? I don't know. We heard When Doves Cry a lot, and we heard Soft and Wet a lot, but that was during that time period. So I don't know. Do you know why Michael didn't play Peter Pan? I think one of the reasons was because my uncle didn't like the fact that Peter Pan grew up. I know that for a fact. He had that was the main hiccup of why he didn't like Hook, was because he felt I also, not that he grew up, they didn't know who he was, and he was a lawyer. I think that was something that bothered him a lot. Taj, do you think about interviewing Darkchild? Yes. Ronnie Jerks. I've actually interviewed him for another project, for a Jerry Greenberg project, and he was a great interviewer. So yes. And Brad Buxer, yeah, I've talked to Brad about it already in general. So when I said 40 people, that was like the minimum of what I'm choosing that I want to interview, because I feel like you get, with that amount of people, you kind of get to know who the person truly was. You don't have these two liars and their families, saying who they were, and then no chance of anyone else saying another story in that way. So for me, it is important to get all these people. And as you guys know, I'll go on any interview that really wants to talk, because I see a lot of people vlog and all that stuff. I'll go on an interview that really wants to learn about my uncle. And sorry, I shaved, so I thought I saw like a cut mark. Paranoid. I'll go in any interview that really wants to learn about my uncle, or talk truly about my uncle. But if it's just a setup, or if they just want dirt or whatever, I'm not going to waste my time. Were me and my brother, yes, we were on the Captain EO set, and I regret to this day because I was too young to realize the importance of it. You had Lucas, you had Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola. Um, you had these amazing, talented people there, and I was what did they call it? The trailer. Like I stayed in the trailer most of the time because I don't even know why. I just was like, I think we are playing games or something. I don't know what it was, but it was just like it's the dumbest thing, especially someone that is a filmmaker. Now I regret it. But I don't know if is it true that Michael loved the movie and he intended. I don't know if he was intended to play the character. I don't think anyone could play it as good as Johnny Depp did. I know my uncle loved Johnny Depp's performance because I saw Edward Scissorhands with my uncle, and so I know he loved the movie and he loved Johnny Depp's performance. But I don't know if he was intended to play the character or not. Sorry. Yes, Brad Buxter and Brad worked. We worked with Brad a lot with our demos for 3T and stuff like that. So we got to know Brad very well. Yes, they were very close, and they would tease each other a lot, and that's why I'm laughing because they had a great relationship, like almost like a brotherly relationship at times, and it was just fun to watch. Fun to see both of them yell at each other at times, and not I mean friendly yell. I'm not talking about you know Did Michael know how to cook? I I never, ever, ever saw my uncle cook, but that doesn't mean he didn't know how to. I just never saw it. I never, uh, um, I never saw it. Uh, Sorry, guys. I really am trying to get to these questions. I don't know if my uncle ever met Johnny Depp. I'm sure if I think there's pictures if he did, so that would be more music is coming, definitely with our 25th anniversary, which is another thing that's annoying with this pandemic. Our 25th anniversary of 3T is this year. We were planning on doing something really big for it, but now we're trying to figure out what we're going to do because we can't perform, out in the public and stuff like that. So we'll see. But yeah, it's been 25 years since Brotherhood. I'm seeing a lot of names on there. A lot of these names because I don't want to go through each name and confirm and deny and all that stuff. But a lot of these names, um, I have either written down or I've already talked to. I want to interview David. His artwork was amazing. It's something that I still remember to this day. Like I can close my eyes and see his artwork at Neverland and stuff like that. And so, and I know that he shared a lot with my uncle in terms of he gets my uncle and he said a lot of nice things about my uncle. So I would love to interview him. And he's someone that is written down as someone that I'm supposed to get in touch with. Um, um, there's a lot. The interesting thing is that a lot of these people that I'm going to interview, it's going to be a trip down memory lane for me as well. And I'll learn a lot of stuff about my uncle in a good way because I wasn't there for everything. And so I'm looking forward to these stories as well. Do I think the families who accuse Falsum were jealous of the other people who spent more time with them? Yes. I think that's the one true thing that they said in Leaving Neverland is that when you felt replaced, there was a jealousy aspect to it, and you can see it in in the families. They were extremely jealous, that they felt replaced. And so, yeah, I would definitely think, because my uncle had such an energy about him that when you were around it, you felt like there's nothing you can do. Like, you felt the world. And then when you weren't around it, it's like it wore off. And so I get it. I'm not saying I condone what they did, because I think they're sleazy and all that stuff. But um, yeah, I do think they were jealous. Uh, they tried to break. How did Uncle Michael try to break into movies as well as directing? Also, the thing with my uncle, and this is just knowing, the scenarios and being around him so much. There were so many directors and so many producers that dangled a carrot in front of him to either star in something or pick his brain about something, and then he thought he was attached to it, and then last minute he wasn't attached to it, and stuff like that. And so, because when you're an idea person, an idea man, but I call it idea person, because but some people just want to get your ideas. They don't have any reason to really put you into something, or reward you at the same time. And so he was an idea person. He came up with incredible ideas, and so they would just pick his brain about it. Like, Green from Scotland, like you, I'm a victim of child CSA, and with the whole leaving out thing, I know you're making documents, but what's the plan go for? Oh yeah, so I kind of talked about that as well. Yeah, the plan going forward is just basically to to I don't even want to use the word debunk all these lies, because they've been debunked, but to put them in a coherent, you know, easy to follow scenario where people can easily follow it. People, can easily do the research themselves, because that's one of the things I like about certain ones that have been done, is when it's like, okay, don't just believe us. Here it is. Here, go, if you want to do the research, here it is, in that way. And so that's what I plan on doing too. Is everything is backed by something, by fact, in some way or another, unless it can't be. But then those things will, be obvious to people. It won't be something sneaky, in a way that Leaving Neverland is. Where am I? Am I caught up? No, I'm 5 minutes behind on the questions, but so I'm going to go a little. And if you guys, if I slip up somewhere, please tell me, because I don't want them taking audio bites from something. So, correct me if I'm wrong on something or whatever. Thank you. Yeah, are you guys planning on doing anything for Michael's birthday? Oh, I got a delivery. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what. Wow, I got a couple of deliveries. That's good. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's scheduled for Michael's birthday in general, and um, we'll see. I'm very curious to see what the climate is in that way. If celebrities are going to um, tweet about it or not, or such say blue check marks are going to tweet about it or not. I mean, I feel like in Instagram they're more open, and they're more courageous to do that, which is sad. Michael's been walking up there in heaven. Yes, he is. Did Michael have a favorite? movie. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. I know that we saw What's eating Gilbert Grape together, and he loved Leo's performance in that. So I can only tell you what I saw with him. So that was one of them that um, I know he loved his performance, and I did too. I mean, I actually thought that he had that condition and that he wasn't acting. So he fooled me. Did Michael have a favorite porn star? No, no, he did not. In that way, at least I don't think he did. You have to ask another person that story, or ask them about that. He didn't tell me. Uh, what was his favorite Beyonce song? I don't know. I know he really appreciated Beyonce and loved Beyonce, but I don't know his favorite song. I didn't it the when I know the answer, I'll tell you like exactly what it is because it's something that either we asked him or he told us. I don't like guessing. That's the only thing that because um, I don't think it's fair to you to just say, "Oh, I think it was this" or whatever. That if I say that, I'll say I think it was this because of this in that way. Just because I think if we're all just like I wouldn't want someone else guessing about what he thought in that way. I want people to tell me what they heard him say or what they said to him or asked him a question and he answered. Like that's the way you fill in the blanks in that way. Can you can you help us get the bad? Yeah. I don't know the scenario on those at all. I don't know the scenarios on all his concerts. I know he filmed all his concerts, so they should be somewhere unless they got lost. I don't think they got lost, so I'm hoping one day we do get to see them because I think there's a generation that's never seen him in concert, so that would be a travesty. Yes, I did. Um, yeah. Um, I don't know how much I can say about that. I did see them, and I had seen them earlier, to be honest with you. So they were amazing, and they were amazing when I saw them a while ago. That's all I can say. But yeah, it was great to see um, them together, and that was one of the reasons why I also saw footage of my grandfather and my grandma, on that same trip, and that was one of the things. I think it was I don't know if it was a live stream or a tweet that I said because I'd seen footage of that, and it bothered me that certain people were saying that he didn't have a relationship with his father, that he was scared of his father, that he hated his father, and here I am having had seen that footage, and he invited his father on this trip with his mother, and you can see clearly that he wants him to be there. So it's just there's the narrative of what the media spins, and there's a narrative of what really happened, and we have to be very careful that we don't feed the narrative of what the media wants us to think in that way. This is what I wanted to click on. Do you think? I hope he does. I honestly, I've said this in the beginning, and I honestly feel that before I even started this project, that was one of the things that I felt would happen. And I've always felt that. I've always felt that my project could be the project that he, comes out and says the truth and feels a safe space to do that in a way. So I would love that. And that's nothing's veered or changed my opinion on that. What happened to Michael's costumes? His wardrobe did get them, or I don't know if it's his family. I'm part of if his kids got them or not, but I know a lot of them got auctioned, unfortunately. Do you ever talk about Bob Marley? We just talked about Bob Marley's music, which he thought that it was amazing, but he thought Bob Marley was amazing, but we didn't talk in general of like personality or anything like that. I'm a fan of also of your dad. Does he have a special guitar that he named like BB King had Lucille? I'm gonna ask him that question. I don't think he does. I know he has a favorite guitar. I do know that. And it's one of his oldest guitars, back from the Gary, Indiana days. Um, but I don't think he named it. I hope there's not a hologram tour. I honestly don't. Not just because I don't know. It's how do I say this? And part of me, my uncle was fascinated with technology, and when we were in that, um, like the name hoisted, whatever it's called, the Dutch village in Japan, we saw this performance that was a hologram, and my uncle thought it was amazing. A holographic person, Afternoon of the Fawn, basically, uh, and he thought it was absolutely amazing and stuff like that. So part of me is hard. It's hard because it's like I see that and I think how excited he was about that, but then I just don't think you can duplicate Michael Jackson on a hologram. Like I just don't. There's something about him being there, present. His energy of being there, I think, is missing in that way. But that's me. I don't the thing that I don't want to do is discourage people from their own experience or what they deem is important. A hologram tour to someone can be, um, the only way they've seen him, perform, which is not really him perform. I think if it's a double, that's not. It's not. If it's actually from his moves and from footage, and they can actually, you know, I don't think technology is there yet, but if they could actually take that and put that on the stage, that's different. But if it's something where it's just like a dance double, it's not Michael Jackson. Do I have access? So I'm clicking on some of these without reading them. So, but do you have access to his private home aside from exclusive videos for you? They contain proof of Wade and James' lies. They could contain. Yes, they could. I don't have access to all his home private videos at all. Trust me, if there was some, I hope they come out in that way. Um, but I think the more James and Wade talk, the more the lies are going to be exposed. I think they were very smart in shutting up when they did because they were getting exposed, and Dan Reed kept going and he got exposed. And so, I do think with this court case, they're going to get exposed even more. How do you do to just from the battle touch? I think it's unplugging. Um, I was wounded. If this was a battle, I was on the battlefield wounded at one point, in the last couple months, and it was just because of exhaustion. It was also, one of the hardest things is the person, you've experienced the person, you spent thousands of hours with the person, but then you have in your ear someone telling you that's not the person you knew. That's not the person you knew. That's not the person you knew. We're going to tell you who the person really was. You know, forget your memories, forget who you thought he was. This is who he was. And we have no facts or evidence about that. We're just going to keep saying it until you believe it. Like weapons of mass destruction, which is what they told, the media repeated and repeated during the George Bush days. And so people start believing it. And I'm not saying I ever believed it. It just was so tiring and draining, because it's like you have to filter that out. And that was the hardest thing for me, was just filtering that out and hearing people's ignorant comments, strangers, as I always say, tell me who my uncle was. and say, oh, well, you just don't know. And it's like that bothers me more than anything because I wouldn't have the audacity to do that to someone else to say, oh, you don't know your family. You don't know your uncle or your aunt or your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad. I know them because I saw a movie. That's what it's been frustrating is because that's just ridiculous in that way. I think you can get to know someone if you do the research in that way, and I think the fans and the MJ fam have done their research by looking, by watching, and they have gotten to know who Michael Jackson was. But you don't get to know him by just a 4-hour puff piece. Mm. Can you guys do anything? It's you guys are done so much just being supportive and stuff like that. I hate I'm watching The Secret and stuff. So I'm trying to be careful with my words like hate and stuff like that. But I really dislike um I have a hard time asking for money in terms of like the GoFundMe and stuff like that and whatever, especially now with everyone having to go through this pandemic. It's like so that's why I took it off of my Twitter. I had that pinned in the beginning and whatever. And it's just like that it just doesn't sit right with me. So I always say if you can, then do. If you can't, then I totally get it in that way. But that's been the biggest hiccup. I'm like the worst fundraiser in that aspect of it. But it does help in the scenario because there's certain people and experts that I want to hire as well to um, to move the process along even faster. Yes, I've been watching The Secret. It's awesome. You know what it is? It's not that I've been watching it. I watched it already. I had to re that was one of the things that I rewatched while I was kind of feeling down and whatever. And it helped because it helped change my mental attitude in that way. And I realized by focusing on the negative, I was just bringing more of it. And so I chose to focus on the positive, and then that came in that way. And then I started hearing stories about my uncle, incredible stories, and it made me feel good about not reinforced because it's like I never doubted it, but it just made me feel no, I'm supposed to fight and pick up the shield and go run into battle again. And it's 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 been an honor, a blessing, but you know, I think the tiring thing is biting your tongue. That's been a because I always, I've been on Twitter talking about Karma 2020. So many people. I shouldn't laugh. It is funny. Um, so many people have stumbled and fell and had accusations launched on them that have been the first to attack my uncle or attack his credibility or attack his legacy and attack us as fans and the MJ fam. And now they're getting their due, in that way. And I haven't tweeted about it mainly. I've been very reserved, but it's been hard. It really has been. Um, let's see. No, he did not. The only thing he recorded was his background vocals for Why. So that's what we had. I would love to release a version if he had it of him singing just by himself. That would be amazing too. Like I'm not saying, oh, like our version's different. No, if he had a version of it. Now there is a version of Babyface singing the verse and then my uncle singing the backgrounds. The Keepers. Interesting. I'm gonna check that out. Have you seen The Keepers? And you guys, I've been watching a lot. The what you guys have suggested to me, I've been watching a lot of, which I appreciate because um, not only do I watch these, but then I go and I kind of research them to make sure that they're kind of, weren't manipulative. And if they were manipulative, where did I get suckered into it? Where I became manipulated? And so it's very interesting But thank you for the suggestion. The keepers, okay. Did celebrities reach out to me? I don't even know if that many celebrities have seen the Square One. Um, the interesting thing is most. How do I say this in a PC way? Hold on, going back in my questions here. Most celebrities, you guys don't have to believe this or whatever, but a lot of the celebrities believe Michael Jackson. That's why they were so quiet. If you want to know and you want to follow Twitter, you'll realize when celebrities are against something. It's everywhere and it trends and it trends. And once you see that pattern, you'll realize that Leaving Neverland did not trend like something that was real would trend in that way. And so a lot of celebrities sat it out and a lot of celebrities didn't believe it, but they couldn't say that because they would have got attacked by the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement. So they were quiet and they were silent. And so as you guys are seeing with the release of music and stuff like that, most celebrities didn't believe it in that way. And as Dave Chappelle, frankly said in his special, he didn't believe those MFers. You know, it's just how it is. And so I think the media's job is to make you think that we're in the minority, which is, I said before, it's like, yeah, if you keep reading just the same things, you'll believe, oh, all these people think Michael Jackson's this or this. But we're starting to see our power and we're starting to see that that's not true at all. And yeah, the more people that see Square One, the better, but uh just recently, and I'm blanking on the name. You guys help me out. The person that just saw Square One and tweeted about it, and she got attacked by certain people and everyone. But she specifically said, she's like, no, I've always believed Michael was innocent. It's just I want people to see this now. And so I think that's generally the viewpoint, but there's so many people scared to say stuff. Um, do you, what do you think of the? I think it's a joke. I think if it's something to be called factual, it has to have facts in it. I mean, isn't that the word factual mean? Um, that's the biggest scam and joke in general. They can show me a fact. I can show you a lot of lies in the documentary. I mean, did they just glance over them? Uh, did I see some Brazilian movie? Which one? I saw City of God way back in when I met my wife and I told her that, she's like, "Oh no, 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 no," because that was like, which is what I understand about the world is like what you see is what you think everything is in that country or whatever. And so seeing City of God, made me feel like, oh, that's how Brazil could be in a way. Now I knew it wasn't because, I had people like my uncle tell me how beautiful it was in that way. So I never, it was contradictory feelings, but yeah, my wife wasn't very happy when I told her that, I had seen that because she's like, no, no, that's not how all of Brazil is. But I get it. It's like, someone's seen something in America and thinking that's how all America is. All right. Uh, uh, did my uncle have a favorite philosopher or author? He liked Stephen King a lot in terms of for stories, but he was more into self-help stuff in terms of like, the Law of Success or Think and Grow Rich or, later on The Secret and stuff like that. He was more into that kind of stuff. Did Michael smoke weed? I've never ever saw him smoke weed. Um, no. And is it true that my uncle smoked any? I don't think so at all. My uncle didn't like cigarettes in that way. He would do something on stage where he would pretend that he was smoking a cigarette and then put it out, but I don't. I mean, I don't. No, I don't. I don't know of anyone that was around in the 90s or 80s that saw him smoke. Where am I at? Yeah, BAFTA, which is funny because that's what they've done. That they did that, I think, with something else that they were promoting. I think it was, which just shows that they don't even really. They're promoting something they don't even really know. They're as factual as the actual documentary was. I don't know about the Twin Towers meeting. I've heard that it wasn't true, and then I've heard that it was true. So I don't know. I wasn't there, and I wasn't even in New York at that time, so I don't know. Have I smoked pot? No, no, I have not. I remember in Holland. I'll disclose this since we're all being honest here. I remember in Holland, the company that during the Stuck on You time period, one of the execs from the record company gave me some because they were so surprised that I hadn't smoked it, and I took it, and I flushed it down the toilet, when I got home. But I I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I don't know, because I was in Holland, I didn't want to be disrespectful. But no, I've never have. So, and I'm kind of naive to it in a way because certain people around me will be like, "Oh, do you smell it? Do you smell the pot and all that stuff?" And I'm like, "No," and whatever. And so, I know I know many people that have around me, and they a lot of people love it. So, I'm not. I seldomly drink beer or something now, just because it's just I don't know. I think pot would make me a little too relaxed, and I need to be a little more aggressive. Do you do, what do I think? Would Michael like BTS? Um, I know he would. Like, it's not even a question. My uncle not only would have liked him, he probably would have done a single with him, knowing him, just how he was, and he appreciated artistry. He appreciated people that worked hard, and BTS has worked hard. They've not, gotten anything handed to them, and my uncle would have respected that. My uncle would have probably known their songs because my uncle always had, like, he would take the world song. I know they've crossed over and they're exploding here, and they have exploded here. I shouldn't say explode. They're breaking records here, but back then he'd have the world charts, and so he would have the number one songs from all over the world, so he was always aware of what was going on in the world. So 100% he would have liked BTS. He would have, he would have he would have done a, a song with them or something. It's not even a question. I know he would have. uh happened to what happened after they why did the media turn against him? Is it because powerful people were against? I think, when you get to a certain part, and you become so big, you become a threat. And sorry, my daughter's playing. You become a threat, and you become, and it's just, I don't want to sound hokey, but it's a dark versus light world in that way. And if you can't turn someone that is light dark, and I'm talking about, like, spiritually, then they're the enemy. And that's what they do. They take these people that are musicians or actors, actresses, athletes, people that are in the public eye, and it's like, oh, you want to get to this next level? Well, this is what you have to do. And my uncle wasn't like that in that way, and I think that's the problem. He defied all of that, and he paid the price for it in a way. He went against the grain, and it always bothers me when people say, "Oh, he's protected." It's like, protected by who? Because you know he's always been the smokescreen for Hollywood. So how is he protected there? He was never part of their club. They never let him into the club because he wasn't like them. So where was he protected in that way? And I think people are now starting to see how people really are protected in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, what real protection looks like. And if you want to see what it looks like, study the Epstein case. That's real protection. My daughter. Okay. Yeah, inspiration from Walt. I think he really appreciated Disneyland in terms of the idea of what he had created. In terms of the happiest place on earth, quote unquote, in terms of just a place where people could go on rides and have fun and all that stuff. I think he loved that idea that this came from one person, basically, this idea. I heard that. I heard that he was involved. Um, that he was part. But that's what I heard. So and I feel a lot better knowing that as well. Not like the other one. People involved weren't capable. They were extremely capable. That's why, you know, the cases got thrown out originally. But the more the merrier in terms of the more great minds there, the better. Um, how do they just another fraud? It's hard because it's like you don't want to give someone attention that's desperately seeking it, but at the same time, you don't want to underestimate it either, because the media will take these frauds and give them a platform. So it's just been hard, and especially with him, because he I mean there's no credibility with him in general. So it just shows you how far someone can get. Oh, yes, my uncle did like rap. Um, he liked it a lot, and he studied it a lot, and he worked with a lot of rappers. He really appreciated rap and hip hop, and the stories that they were telling in terms of you know um, where they were coming from and the artistry behind it. And you can tell. I mean, so he's met so many rappers, and and the rappers that he's met had great experiences talking about him and how he knew their songs. Jay-Z is one that talks about how Michael knew his song, and Biggie, same thing. Snoop. I don't know about Snoop. Well, I know Snoop loves Michael, but I don't know. Um, I didn't mean Snoop. I meant who. For, so I'm trying to get through these questions. All the trolls beat it. Yeah. Um, what would my uncle have done? He would have been paranoid. Um, my uncle was extremely germaphobe. A lot of people, I laugh when people sneeze because my uncle was paranoid when people sneezed. Especially if he sneezed anywhere close to his direction, he was paranoid. So I can only imagine what he would be like during this pandemic in general. He'd probably have something where you would have to be like sprayed down and, with Lysol or something. Ugh. my or whatever he said with the in the shows. I think Terrell asked him that. Uh, I don't know what it was. I gotta find out that too. It's something because I know we asked him. I don't remember what it was, but he would say that he'd say certain things that like I don't even know if they had meaning. He'd just say them to almost have people go, "Why is he say that?" Okay, Snoop did say that they were going to collaborate. And, okay, thank you. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, I know that's. I think most people that actually got to know my uncle, understand his soul and understand him, and you can't tell them different because when you know someone's soul, you know someone's soul. Period. In that way, and they're trying to make my uncle into this boogeyman that people that know him know that's not how he was at all. It's the complete opposite of him. Daughter's getting in trouble. My wife's speaking in Portuguese. Is it karma for you know, it's karma for a lot of people and I don't like to gloat and stuff like that, but it's just like I don't understand people. When Leaving Neverland came out, it was the worst time for our family. And to see big people like Ellen promote it was super hurtful because she's got millions and millions of fans that idolize her and worship her and and whatever she endorses they check out, and for her to say check out this or check out that, it was devastating, because you're not only working against you know a corporation that's trying to shove something down someone's throat, you're also working with people that are endorsing it in that way. So yeah, and I think the hardest thing was she was supposed to be someone that was a fan of Michael and a fan of Janet. She always said, "Oh, I'm a fan of Janet." And well, if you're a fan of someone, give them the respect at least to comment on it before you go and throw someone under the bus. Dodge is not gloating. I know. I'm trying to get to all these questions, but I'm not. I mean, some of these I can't answer in terms of um, like this one. I mean, I've thought about that, not about punching them, but thought about what would I do if I saw them. Like, would it be anger? Would it be normally with me? And this is the complete truth: is that I'm such a empath that I start shaking when there's truly a bad energy around me. Um, I can't handle it. Like I start shaking. Um, I shouldn't say that because someone that knows me, I did that one time around them, and they're gonna now know why I did that. But when there's a bad energy, I just can't help it in that way, and so it would be more of that. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they'd get my Joe side or my Catherine side. And I would say, the thing that's helped me so much is my daughter. She's someone that, her smile is everything. And it's one of the reasons you keep going and you have hope in the future, and you hope that this is just a hiccup in the whole legacy of Michael Jackson, because she's going to this with a clean slate. So her generation and upwards is like kind of what I'm focused on in terms of how are they going to be? What are they going to, she already loves the song. So it's like, you know, I want it to be a clean slate for her. Um, um, do I watch channels like John? Some of them and whatever, and some, I watch a lot of movie channels on YouTube, and I always have, and it's always been my favorite thing. Um, yeah, so I just like watching those in general. Sorry guys, because I know like it's the radio side of me is like this is dead air, like dead space. They're watching me watch something or read something. Um, do I know if I don't know if he liked Blink 182 or not. I know that you'd be surprised at the music that he appreciated. And I'm not saying that Blink 82 is like something not to love. I'm saying that he had such range in the stuff that he loved. Um, but I don't know. I don't know like if he's heard Basket Case or anything like that. I don't know, Um, I don't know what he heard or not in that way. Slash is speaking well. Yes. Well, of course he is. I mean, Slash is, there's certain people that know when you know someone, you know someone. And so you don't have, there's no one that can tell you differently. You saw it with your eyes, you saw your experience. So you don't care what other people say because that's not how he was in that way. And Splash saw the real Michael Jackson, just like everyone that worked at Neverland saw the real Michael Jackson in that way. And so they know, not only do they know their stories, but their stories don't flutter, they don't change, they're consistent because that's how they were. So much skeptical of your documentary saying that server already helped so much that will be different. And what can I say? I think the Square one's incredible. It's very factual. It's very well done. Very put out in a way. But there's so much that is still yet to be. I think hearing from people that actually knew Michael in terms of people that either worked with him or were friends with him. Just hearing those stories, it's a humanitarianism aspect of it. I mean, the human aspect of it, but also his humanitarianism. I think that stuff, yes, if you're a critical mind, then Square One is incredible. And it's incredible because you can go and check out all the facts and see if they line up, and they do. But then if you really want to know who Michael Jackson was, that's where this project also comes in, because you get to hear stories, you get to hear why he did this, or why the 93 allegations, what they did to him, how they affected him, in that way. It's how did it affect Michael Jackson, and how did it change the trajectory of what his life was? Just like how did the Pepsi commercial change his life, and a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that a burn, from his head, an accident that happened in the Pepsi commercial could have changed its whole trajectory of everything from painkillers to, just his being careful. So that's why I'm pausing, to his confidence and appearance. Guys, you should watch Untitled. Going clear. I've heard about that. Yeah, I do want to watch that one. I have that on my list of things to watch. Did Michael watch Hannah Montana? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't think he did. I don't think he had the time to watch. The, he didn't watch a lot of Disney shows in general. He loved Disney, but he didn't watch a lot of TV shows in general. So he was more of a movie person. Um, this is what I hear all the time. This is what keeps me sane, is hearing my daughter laugh, because it reminds me. Mm. So I'm trying to get as many. I'm going to stop soon because I didn't even realize it was this long. But I mean, thank you guys for hanging in there. But I talked to my grandma a while ago, and she was fine. I mean, it's not a great scenario for anyone in terms of just being locked up, you know. But she's hanging in there, which is all I can ask for in general. But I look forward to seeing her soon. So I'm terrified, obviously, of being close to her because it's like I don't want to give her anything. So I'm keeping my distance. But she's one of the people I miss the most. Did he watch American Idol, or what he liked more than that? I don't, you know, I think he like watched some of those shows, and stuff like that. But what he liked more than that was actually America's Funniest Home Videos. That was always playing, at Neverland and stuff like that on TV. He watched more of that stuff than anything because he liked stuff that made him laugh. Which year was worse for your family? And when Wayne and James made their first time? Um, I think 2013. No one believed them because Wade didn't have his story straight yet. He was still making up stuff in terms of, and not like he had his story straight, in 2019 either. It's just there was a whole movement that no matter what he said, would do mental gymnastics to support him. Like if he lied, they'd be like, "Oh, well, he's not supposed to remember. He's a victim." If he changed his story, it's like, "Oh, that's common to do." You change your story if you're a victim because you're traumatized. If he got, if they get the year wrong, it's like, "Oh yeah, you're not." They would never know the year anyway. So it's like it was frustrating because it's like no matter what it was always like, um, they had an excuse for them in that way. So there's no accountability for their lies. I mean, you heard Dan saying with this train station, "Oh, well, maybe he got the year wrong." And it's just it's such BS. But I wish the media would call them on it as opposed to helping facilitate them. All right, we'll do a couple more. Well, if they want to, I'm not going to force them to be part of the documentary. They know about it. They're super supportive of it. They always ask me about it. But with anyone, I'm not going to force anyone to be part of it. So, if they feel comfortable enough, they will be part of it. If they don't, then they will be supporting in another way, behind the scenes, or helping with promo and stuff like that. Because the one thing I don't want to do is I've never done this with my uncle as well. I never forced my uncle to do anything in that way. And I think that was one of the things that me and my brothers, um, why he, no, I don't want to say loved us so much, but why he respected us so much, because we didn't want anything from him. We just wanted to be with him in terms of we wanted his companionship and his friendship, and we didn't, the Michael Jackson aspect. Certain times we'd have to ask for autographs for other people, but it was never for ourselves. It was never like, "Oh, can you sign this?" And I never once thought in my brain like, "Oh, let me have him sign this because it's worth something." Never did that. And I know people that did in hindsight do that, and now they've sold stuff, in his name, or let me have the whatever I asked for. It was because I wanted it to cherish it in that way. I never thought about selling it. And so sorry, here, um I would say that would be the main thing, is just if they feel comfortable. If they feel comfortable being part of it, 100%. If they don't, then I'm not going to try and guilt trip them into it or whatever. You know, it's not my right to do that. Now go hug your daughter. Have a great evening. Not yet, not yet. Thank you though. I appreciate that. Trust me, she is so spoiled right now. Um, I watched both my aunt and uncle on Big Brother, which is funny. Yeah, they did a good job. What do I think of all the sexual assault survivors? You know, I think Leaving Everyone was designed to trigger a lot of people in that way. It's almost like if you were a victim of physical abuse, domestic violence, and then you saw a movie, not a documentary, a movie about one of the characters was domestically abused, it would trigger you. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean that the characters in the movie are real, but it still triggers you. And I think that's what Leaving Neverland was. It just triggered you. Um, so I think so I don't fault them. I fault people that are closed-minded and that call us Twitter mobs or stands and stuff. I fault those people because they're not open to at least hearing the other side. But I also realize that those people were never supportive of Michael Jackson anyway. It's like the ones that are open-minded are ones that were, I don't even want to say fans of Michael. They appreciated Michael, and then now it's like I still want to appreciate Michael. So let me look at the other side. The ones that just can care less with their fingers to their ears, they basically never were fans anyway, or they never appreciated him anyway. So they've always rooted against him. He grew up a Jehovah Witness, and that was what he was during most of the Thriller year. I mean, all the way up to Thriller, and then because of the short film Thriller, he had to leave that religion. But he was always spiritual, and he never once um, stopped talking about God, and God gave him this gift to do music and to help people. He always talked about God in that way. And so he was very spiritual, and that never wavered in general. He always felt that in God's hands, he was going to be okay. He was just tested. Do you ever think that we release? Do you ever think the unreleased songs with lead vocals from Michael Jackson? Basically, there are only two. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's in the vaults, to be honest with you. I don't. I wish I knew more because that would be awesome. Time for the Philippines family, especially young Michael. Oh, thank you. Oh, by the way, me and my brothers, we did for the Michael Jackson channel, we did do a playlist. So be on the lookout for that. We have our own playlist that we did, which we picked songs. I'm not going to tell you which songs we picked, but we picked certain songs that weren't as popular because it gets boring saying the same songs over and over. Like, oh, these are my favorite and blah, blah, blah. So we tried to change it up a little, but it was awesome, and that's Sirius FM. They have their Michael Jackson channel right now. They did a version of Brotherhood for the cameras. I forgot which channel it was. I want to say it was either Extra or Access Hollywood. They did a version where they were singing, recording it, in front of the cameras, but I don't know if we ever finished that. So Um, that would be cool. An animation, make a video. Um, I think they did for the Halloween, right? Was that them? That Halloween special? I didn't see it, but okay, I'm almost done, guys. I'm gonna stop at the 2 hour mark just because I can talk to you guys for hours and hours, but um did he talk about his vision that both with us? My uncle was very upfront with us at all. I knew about his vitiligo way back, obviously. I mean, it's nothing he hid from us in a way, but it's something that he had to go through. And it was a time when it wasn't as accepting as it is now. Um, I have under this arm here, I have a light patch. Like it's a discolorization, I guess, whatever. It's about this big and it's under my arm. And when I showed that to him, um, he already had the makeup, of what to cover it with, and he gave me the brand and everything like that. And so he had been doing that for a long period of time before, people kind of realized that he had vitiligo. The surgery, same thing in terms of that. I think the frustrating thing with him was that he was made as the poster child, when it's almost like today, where he's the smoke screen, and it's like all these people are doing, you know far worse, or they're getting away with stuff, and he's the one that they're focused on and teasing in a way. And that bothered him because and he said in one of the interviews, if 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 you ask Hollywood to leave in terms of how many people have done plastic surgery, there'd be no one there. And it's true because and people that you never would think of that condone it or pretend they didn't do it. And he never called out anyone, which is amazing. But that wasn't like him anyway. he used a he no he didn't use a different voice in private. We saw. I mean, he just had his voice. Like, I think when you see home videos and private videos, that's his voice. Like, that's what you hear. Sometimes it was high, sometimes it was low. Depend on the scenario. It wasn't like, I don't even think he realized. Just like my voice can be high when I, get excited or something, or it could be low. It's the same thing with him. It changed. I 100% think of all Michael's music videos should be high definition. We just did one of our videos in high definition. I'll plug it. It's not common of me, but go check out our Stuck on You video. We just did a high def version of it, and I'm extremely proud of it. But yeah, it was actually really cool remastering it because there's only a standard definition version, and yeah. But I definitely think he should do. There should be a high definition version of all his songs. I mean, I don't see what the holdup is unless there's some rights issues involved. Do you have film or audio? Yes. We have a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot. We have enough of that and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's if some of the stuff, which I do know some of it already does fit, my project, then it will be used. If it doesn't, then it won't. I'm not just going to put it there just to put it there or whatever. What's my biggest dream? Um, I would, when I did 3T, and I said did, I'm still doing 3T, but we're on a little break right now. It was to make my mom proud, and the whole goal when we lost our mom was basically to do it in her honor. Um, Whatever I do, I want to make my grandma proud in that way. It's one of the reasons I took up this this the mantle of doing this in a way, because I not only cherish this woman, but it's like she's my biggest role model. And so my biggest dream has to in some way incorporate that aspect of it. But I've always wanted to be a film director in terms of actually a movie, um, which was the hardest thing, because coming out defending my uncle was basically burning the bridges of my film career. Uh, Going after all the Hollywood publications that I would dream would support me, I was attacking them, and I was calling them out for their lies and stuff like that. So it was like losing one dream to protect another dream in a way. And so that was the hardest thing, because I couldn't think of myself in terms of being selfish and being you want to fix her hair so that you could show that um I couldn't think of myself in terms of like, oh, I can't say this or that because I might need this or that person, or I might need this or that publication. I mean, I went after Sundance. Sundance is like was a dream for me um to 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 debut a movie at Sundance. That went down the drain. I went after the publications of you know whether it was Hollywood Reporter or Daily Variety, which are the two biggest ones in terms of movie trade. And you just have to do things that are right, that you deem the right thing to do. And so that was the hardest thing, was just and going after celebrities that I actually had admired in terms of their work, and calling them out and being like, and I would give them some leeway. I'd be like, hey, get a hold of me or whatever, and I can explain. But if they were hard headed, or if they didn't want to do that, then I would just call them out, because it's like at the end of the day, it is about sleeping at night and feeling good about yourself in that way. And that's the main thing for me. I don't care about anything else in that way. It's like, I know I'm a good person, and that's, you can take everything away from me, but I know that. And so that's how I go through all this. And I think that's one of the reasons that the majority, because I haven't talked to all my friends, but the majority of my friends believe me and know that I'm telling the truth, is because they know my integrity in that way. And they know I would never be defending my uncle if I had 1 ounce of doubt in that, because that's not me. Have I heard anything about anyone buying Neverland? No, I have not. It's weird, because it's like, I don't want it to be sold. I don't want it to be sold. I wish it was back in the family, or back even, if the kids had it, his kids. I know it's not the same. I know the magic's not the same, but it still means something to me. Do you sell the MJ hat? I buy it. No, I got it from a fan that gave it to me. I don't know, and I've asked every live stream who gave this to me, because I would love to have another one, or find a way to get another one. I love this hat. It's my hat that when I decided to do uh, the interviews, I wore this hat, and I wore it kind of as a not only a symbolic gesture of like, I wanted people to know right away where I stood. And I've said this already in the live streams, but I felt pride, proud, proud and pride. Yeah. Um, in terms of, no one can take that away from me, in terms of no one can take my, not only friendship and relationship with my uncle, but my memories. Michael had a personality in public, and he liked to laugh a lot in private, but no, I think if he was shy both ways. Like, that's the thing. Like, he was shy in public for sure. But when I say private, I mean, he obviously wasn't shy around people that he knew. But if you put someone in the equation that he didn't know very well, he became shy again, and so that's still private. But yeah, I would say, so I'm reading I think that was I got this. I think that was the thing. He was pretty consistent with that. He was always different. And one of the things is, for me, I never thought different was bad. I always thought different was good. Why be normal? Why be the same as everyone else? You don't stand out. You don't stand out from the crowd when you're the same in that way. And we never tried to be the same. 3T always wanted to be different than everyone else in that way. So that was the thing for me, is that, oh, is she ready? Taylor's making an appearance again. Let's see. Hey, I'm talking to everyone. Say hi to everyone. Oh, now you're going to act shy. Say hi, Taylor. Oh, okay. There you go. Yes. That's what Dada's doing right now. Taylor dances very well, better than Dada dances when you put music on. So it's got incredible rhythm. Yes, he loved the Three Stooges. Did he like Lauren Hardy? He did, but not as much as Three Stooges. And I guess it would be the equivalent of, like, how people have their, like, which boy band they like or which sports team they like, and you might appreciate the other person's talent, but you like that team better. That was the same thing with my uncle. There's no Three Stooges were it for him. Chaplin and the Stooges, like, he appreciated Buster Keaton, but it was Chaplin. He appreciated Laurel and Hardy and Albert and Costello, but it was the Three Stooges. Why didn't Michael buy Marvel? Because they wouldn't let him. Because him buying Marvel would have been just the same thing with the catalog. It's just too much for one person in his stature to have. They only let you buy certain things, if they can control you. Hold on. Yes, it is true. Curly was Michael's favorite Stooge. That's not even in debate. He loved Curly the best. He respected and appreciated Moe and Larry tremendously, though. But Curly was the one that always made him laugh. Okay. Would your uncle be interested in de-aging effects? Yeah. He loved technology. So, he was always into computer graphics and I think he'd be fascinated with it. And especially like a younger version of himself or whatever. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's my opinion, but yeah. Michael was a big fan. Did you guys ever watch the Amadeus movie? Yes, we did. We watched it with him. That's what reminds me a lot of your uncle. Yes, I think that's one of the reasons I'm using the word made. He wanted us to watch Amadeus, was because the childlike nature of Amadeus and the competition / I forgot the it's told through this person's eyes too, but the way that the other person, his main competition, not main competition, but how he tried to, was jealous of him, but he couldn't deny his talent. There's this one. Let me see if I can find this. I'm not now, but Maybe that'll be something that we do on the watch along. Just that one scene, because he showed us that one scene. He loved that scene because it was a scene where he was angry that Mozart had so much natural talent because he didn't have it. And my uncle loved that scene for some reason. So yeah, Salieri. Yes, thank you. There's this one scene that, and I honestly I've only seen it one time, but he showed that scene and he just loved that aspect of it because it's like he had that talent, that natural God given talent that Salieri wish he had, and he was jealous about it. And I think that was symbolic with my uncle. My uncle had a natural talent that certain people were jealous of. Do I think my uncle would want to be buried at Neverland? No. And I actually was one of the people that fought against it. Me and my brothers. We knew that he didn't want to be buried there because of what had happened with the court case. And once they raid your place and turn it upside down, it doesn't feel like your home anymore in that way. And I think he always respected Neverland and what it, the good that it did, but it never felt like home again for him. Will Debbie be in my? I hope so. I've always had a great relationship with Debbie. To be honest, I can disclose it. I met Debbie through our dermatologist, Dr. Klein or whatever, Arnie Klein. And so Debbie worked there, and that's how we met Debbie and all that stuff. And she was always very sweet to us. And so I've always had a good relationship with her. So I would hope that she would be part of it. But as I said before, I can't force anyone to be part of anything. And some of these people, what it's going to come down to is just, do they want to rehash the same story over and over again? Or do they want, a lot of them have said, this is the last time I say this, or I'm only doing this because of this. I have to say this. And they don't want to every 5 years be saying something or doing an interview. Oh, I was close with Debbie. I'm not saying that I still am close with her. I was saying back in the day, but I've always had a good relationship with her, and whatever. Just want to clear that up. Can you give us some encouragement that things will turn out right? I think the tide. I think one of the things that that for me gives me encouragement is that once someone realizes the truth about Michael Jackson, they don't go the other way again because their eyes are open. They see the scam. And so for me, I feel like, yeah, they had a big bang in the beginning, but that sizzles away. It's almost like the sprint. They have a big sprint in the beginning, but we're running a marathon. And we just have to keep running that marathon and not worry that they got ahead in the beginning, because we're going to catch up to them. We're going to surpass them. And that's really how I look at it. But I'm not, as my uncle said, we're not playing to win the sprint. We're playing to win the marathon in that way. And if there was something discouraging, even like with the BAFTA awards, I expected that to happen. I was hoping it wouldn't. I was praying that it wouldn't, because I was hoping that they'd prove me wrong. But you've been in this industry long enough to know that things are planted and things are set up in certain ways to legitimize someone or something. They do it all the time with artists. They give artists, X amount of awards when really this artist deserved the award, and that way to downplay the other person. So it's just one of those things that doesn't bother me. So yeah, yes, we will win. Oh, yeah, I know. We're trying to branch out more into that Bee Gees are like captains, so we got to sell him on some of these ideas. And I know he doesn't watch Walking Dead. He's been like, it's his show in a way. He was the one that came up with the idea. I think there are still some demos and unreleased songs, but the problem is just what state are they in? Because if they're in a state that my uncle wouldn't want people to hear, then it's kind of disrespectful for people to hear them. But if they're in a state where they're so close that, I don't know, it's like a judgment call. And the saddest thing about it is that he was. This is why I always say I have this dilemma, because he was so into finding gems from other people, like never before seen stuff of this person, or video of this person that was no longer with us, and all that stuff. So part of me is like, he cherished that stuff of like, this has never been seen, or this person, here's a song that this person, and so I feel a little hypocritical saying that, the fans shouldn't experience that, what he got to experience. But I just know he was also a perfectionist, so it's that's the hard thing. That's the dilemma in there. Yeah, there is one of the things that I would want to say in general too. You guys definitely, this is just me being biased, but the Jackson 5 live. I say this every year on Twitter, but that live at the Forum, the Jackson 5 live at the Forum, one of my favorite albums. Just the magic, the energy, you can see that they're just, what they accomplished at that young age is just extraordinary and out of the world. And they were blessed. And why I'm smiling while I say that is because one of my favorite songs off of there is If That's How Love Goes, that Jermaine sings while he's playing bass and all that stuff. And he's singing and playing bass at the same time, which is amazing in itself because it's two different rhythms. And I just thought, wow, I'm doing the math of it. I'm like, this guy is, I think it's 1972 so I did the math of how old he was. I forgot. I should have done it now, but I'm doing this off the cusp. But he's a teenager playing these bass lines that a professional Motown artist did, and he's singing on top of that. And I thought that was the most amazing thing. And so, if you guys please listen, it's on YouTube too. You can type it in, live at the Forum, Jackson 5. If That's How Love Goes, Jermaine singing. And the reason I'm saying that is because, yes, we always think of Michael and we always think of that, but it started with the Jackson 5, and my uncle was the first to say that. I'm not saying anything blasphemous. He would tell you that if he was around, and he was very proud of that aspect of it. But then I also recently started listening to my dad and his guitar playing on that song, because I always listen to Jermaine because I'm a wannabe bass player. Like, I love bass in that way. And so I just focused on Jermaine and his singing. And then one day I just focused on my dad and the amount of pride I had for that man in terms of, his guitar playing, and he's playing the same, as I always gave my Uncle Jermaine credit. He's playing the same licks that these Motown people played, these professionals have played, and these are some of the best in the world that are playing, and he's playing it live, switching on his on his guitar box and whatever, and not missing a beat and not missing a note. And I always just thought that was amazing too. And it was a lot of pride. And I'd call my dad that day, just say hi to him and let him know how much I respected him and respected the legacy in that way. But it's just, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of my dad and a fan of my uncles, and always will be. And I always, he's my dad, so I never thought of him as, I do think of him, I tell him all the time he's a legend, but I never, it's always like, he's still my dad. But then it's like hearing him play guitar and hearing Jermaine play bass, it's like, no, that's royalty. That's talent. That's Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's royalty talent, as someone said, and it is. It's there's a reason, and they changed music. They really did, and that is one of the reasons Michael is such a target, because people realize that he changed music. He changed the world, and it started with the Jackson 5 and him. My dad is awesome and motivating and funny. He's exactly what you would think he is. He's a cool cat, and he's funny. Um, do you play instruments? Do I play instruments? Yes, I play keyboards. I want to play bass, but I don't play bass. I've had to come to that realization. This this troll. I have to put this user on timeout. I'm not gonna block him but he keeps saying vulgar things to me. That's what makes me distracted or whatever. But it's so vulgar that it's making me laugh more than it's affecting me. Yeah, I love Tito and his Barry White voice. Yeah, he does have a Barry White, and that is his voice, and it is that low. Do you think that they had no idea what he's talking about? I think he just makes up stuff, honestly. It's almost like one of those people that literally throw things on the chalkboard and see what sticks. Dylan Howard's another one. It's so ridiculous what they say that anyone that knows my uncle would be like, this could read one paragraph of what they say and be like, okay, this person's lying. Not only lying, this person does not know what they're talking about. Because if they did, they would have facts and they'd have truth, and not made up facts and truth, but actual facts and truth. Okay, finishing up. Let's see, because I went. There is always one troll. There's probably more than one troll, but I've been kind of like overseeing it. But this person just loves, like, they're on a timeout now. Do I have a secret spam Twitter account? Spam Twitter. Oh, that I can check other people's stuff? No, I don't. Not that I don't do that. If they block me, they block me. That is, I take it as that's probably a good. I'm not supposed to see their stuff because it probably would irritate me. But I do see things that you guys retweet or whatever, and so I see it through that anyway. Did I get to see Thriller when it first premiered in the theater? Yes, I did. Opening night, me and my brothers. All right, I'm gonna pick 3 more. I really appreciate that. I'm your favorite. I didn't pick this one because she said I was her favorite of 3T. Honestly, I didn't. I read the fight like this for your uncle, but thank you. Uh, sounds like a plant. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's weird because when you're doing these, you don't see anyone else, until you're just talking to a computer. But I feel everyone else. I feel everyone else's love. I don't see you guys, but I do feel it. And I think that's the magic of my uncle and the bond that we all have in that way. And so I don't know how to explain it, but I know it's there in that way. And so I do appreciate it. Any big birthday plans coming up? No. I was going to do an interview on my birthday, but I'm not doing that anymore. But no, I don't normally do anything on my birthday. Does Taylor have a favorite Michael Jackson song? The answer is a lot to the Jackson 5. I Want You Back in ABC. She's watching Motown Magic, which is a Netflix show on that you can watch that has a lot of Jackson 5 songs on it. And so she loves watching that. Can I invite Siggy live stream? Yes, I will definitely. And toy, because they were incredible. Um, all right, let's see. I think I am going to say this last thing, and then I'll pick one more question. But I am going to. What is my favorite WWE wrestler? I'm an old school person. This is not the question. This is not what I was going to say, but this got my. Um, I'm old school, like when it was called WWF. I just recently saw a documentary with The Undertaker and have tremendous respect for him in terms of his whole journey and how long he's lasted in the industry. And but before that, I was a Macho Man. Like Macho Man Randy Savage was one of my favorites. The Undertaker I loved because he had, this whole history and gimmick behind him. Um, he's not a wrestler, but Bobby the Brain Heenan was really funny um, in terms of as a manager and as a what's it called, commentator. Love that. But then I also one of my favorites was also Rowdy Piper. Just love that man and whatever. And they live as one of my um, go-to movies. You guys should watch that if you haven't seen it. It's very relevant today. They Live. Um, okay, where was I at? Birthday's it. Well, happy birthday to you. Yeah. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. Before I got distracted with the WWE, because I am a wrestling fan, in general. I Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, more recently, and he's not in WWE anymore, but Chris Jericho too. I liked. There's a certain when he entered. There's a certain cockiness to him that I just loved about him. But yeah, Terrell's favorite was Bret him and Hart for sure. Which he had an amazing documentary too, if you ever seen that. Okay, so this is what I was going to say. I was just going to basically say, I never fault anyone in terms of like how they defend my uncle, because everyone's experience is different. Everyone has a different what's the word? Might have something more to lose, something to lose, might not feel comfortable speaking on his behalf, might not have the experience to do it in a way. But I can tell you that a lot of people, because I'm reading some comments, a lot of people have come up to me, the ones that some of you are worried of, like, oh, they don't say anything, whatever. They've come up to me and thanked me, and they've come up to me and said, you're doing such an amazing job. Thank you. Keep doing it. Because they do feel like I'm their voice as well, just like I am, my family's voice too. It's just like that's important, because you don't want it to be noisy either. You don't want, too many people talking that don't know what they're talking about in that way. And I know when to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll stop talking in that way. And so I don't know. I don't fault anyone for not coming out and saying more or in general. And certain ones do at certain times. And, that's good. And if they don't, I don't hold anything against them either. It's just that's their life, and that's what they're allowed to do in that way. And that doesn't mean that they're not hurting inside. That doesn't mean that doesn't bother them. Some people, when things bother them, they attack it head on, like I did. Some people, they hold it in. Okay. Now that I said that, it is a thin line to walk too. That's the thing, because especially when you know that some people are rooting for you to fall off that line. in general. I luckily catch myself when I make a flub or whatever, and I fix it most of the time. Um, but certain people, look, I've been doing this for 25 years in terms of interviews and stuff with 3T. So I'm a little more seasoned in that way, at least expecting answers and questions of the gotcha questions and stuff like that. I'm more seasoned than that. So it's harder for other people. I wouldn't want to just throw someone in and say, hey, go defend someone now. If you guys see what I see off the cap off there, that's why. But yeah, so that's, I mean, we're at 2:30 now. But I just honestly, why I came on here, because I just felt like it was the right time to do so. I know that some people were feeling discouraged about the BAFTA awards and whatever. I mean, they mean nothing to me or the project that I'm doing in terms of whatever. And it's the same thing if it was them winning the Emmy. It didn't change anything in that way. It gives them some bragging rights, but it's still a piece of turd. It's just polished now. And so that's how I look at it. And time will not be kindly on them in that way. And I don't want to. I mean, we all remember Minnie Vanilli, and I hate to say that because one of them, committed suicide because of the pressure and all that stuff. But it's like awards mean nothing when at the end of the day, it's not truthful. I didn't want to call them a scam, but it's not truthful. And I'm talking about Minnie Vanilli. So it's just like that's how I look at it. The world will find out about this, and it is. It's just that and maybe it's because I've grown up playing baseball and I've seen people get the MVP or win awards, in baseball, or get put on the all-star team because they know so-and-so or so-and-so paid for them to do that. And so I already know the politics behind it. So it doesn't make me, Taylor, it doesn't surprise me as much. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it was called Factual Series is ridiculous, though. I mean, that's the biggest laughable part about it. But yeah, we'll keep tracking. I am going to try and do a watch along again. I did promise you guys another amazing story one, the last one that I had watched a lot with me and my brothers had watched a lot with him. So I didn't forget about that. I need to take a little break for a little while, and we'll do I think that Kobe Bryant's death was worth it? I think they both were tragic in a way, and I think that the world lost, a bright light, and you can tell the world feels it when they lose that light. They mourn, and so I do think Kobe's death was devastating in that way, and I really feel sadness for the family because I know the steps of what they're going through, in general. And so, I sympathize with Vanessa and the rest of the family in that way. But I was so in shock with my uncle's death that I don't really, have a measure of what I was doing in that way. I was kind of in fight or flight mode of taking care of his kids, me and my brothers. That was our main priority. I don't know when my next live is, unfortunately. One of the things I did, love about Kobe was, he did, he was in awe of my uncle because and one of the things, and I've said this before, but was one of the times we were there at Neverland, and my uncle put him on speaker basically, and he was telling him stuff, and Kobe was just soaking everything in, and he was like, yeah, and he was listening profusely, and I always thought, this was before it became Kobe, and I always thought that was just amazing. I always thought this guy really wants to be the best, and he's studying, and he's mentally absorbing from someone that is the best in terms of, in another industry. And I thought that was amazing, and it was just really cool. And then we bumped into him at Khloe Kardashian's wedding with Lamar, and he was so he had such great things to say about my uncle, and I'll never forget that. Okay, I think that's you're going to be on. That's enough to me. That is not up to me. That's interesting. I'm always down for if it's done right. All right. Well, thank you guys. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't. Had I cope with my uncle's death? I didn't. I basically went into the mode of protecting my cousins and making sure they were okay. That was how I dealt with it. And I, in the back of my head, pretended that he was on tour. I think that helps a lot. Just psyching myself out that he was on the road somewhere. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. When does my documentary come out? It comes out when it's ready, basically. I'm scared to make predictions anymore because of this pandemic. I made a 2020 prediction, and now 2020 is kind of shot because we can't go out and film anything right now. So I'll say it'll come out as soon as it's ready. I have to do it right. I have to do my due diligence on it because I get one chance at this in terms of, for me, in general. People are going to be, some people, I've been hard on the media, are going to be rooting for it to fail, which we've already seen with other ones. They've tried to put my name on it and tried to discredit it. And by the way, another thing, I'm not, which I think you guys know this already, but I talked to Danny about this, Danny Wu, and because I was concerned. I'm like, because it said something about me directing Square One. I'm not involved in Square One other than being interviewed and helping promote it after it was done. But I have no credit in terms of helping make it in any way. The most I did was I got myself involved in doing the interview in that way. So all credit goes to Danny and the team that did do the hard work and research in it. No, thank you guys. And it's hard because it's like we're in this pandemic, and it's already, people are already discouraged because of lack of funds, lack of work, so lack of human contact for some people. So you're already in this funk, and this negative funk, and then you get these stupid things like the BAFTA awards and stuff like that. It just adds to it. But one of the things that I've always said, and I said it 3 times already today, is that we have to. Quick question was, it was called Amadeus, the Mozart movie. We have to keep going as if this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, and that's why it's named that. Truth runs marathons. I love that quote from my uncle, and he knew that, and we have to know that as well. And I'm in it for the long haul, but I want to win, and I want his legacy to be for the long haul, not for today, and because people are fickle, and as you know, people change their mind left and right. I want it cemented, his legacy cemented. And so that's all I can say for now. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm hungry and I'm out of breath, and I'll talk to you guys. Am I taking donations? Yes, we are still. I won't promote it, but yes, we are. We are doing that on the GoFundMe page. You can find it if you I guess Michael Jackson, or type in on GoFundMe or Truth Runs Marathons. But I know how it is hard for you guys right now with the pandemic and stuff like that. So, I your support means everything anyway. So, thank you guys.